Welcome back, rock stars, to another episode of From the Vault. Rikki Roxx with the retro action figure review. Last time we talked about Wonder Woman from the DC Direct line. We're going to continue in the DC Direct vein for now, but we're going to jump ahead a few years. We're going to be taking a look at The Flash from the Identity Crisis line, based on the artwork of Michael Turner, the penciler for that series, the covers particularly. That was very striking on the stands at the time. The story itself, the Identity Crisis storyline, very controversial then and now. To put it simply, somebody is murdering loved ones, assaulting loved ones close to some of the DC heroes, and there's a bit of a mystery as to who it is, why they're doing it. The reveal was very controversial. A lot of people weren't too happy with it. Go read it, check it out for yourself. It's a good story, regardless of how you feel about it. Now, The Flash, specifically, was not a dramatically huge player within the miniseries itself, but within his own book at the time, there was a storyline that played into it pretty well. So I definitely recommend checking that out. But these figures were specifically put out to capture the artwork that was on the covers of those issues for Identity Crisis. Michael Turner was pretty hot at the time. He's since passed away, unfortunately. Very regrettable. Far too young. But in the mid-2000s, 2004-05, around then, he was very prolific, very popular within the comic book industry. So it's great that there were some figures put out by DC Direct that really captured the spirit of his artwork, stylized as it was. Wasn't for everybody. Some people thought the women were a little bit too penthouse model, let's say. Otherwise, certain other characters maybe a little bit over-stylized. But you know what? It's comic books, you know? One of the cool things about comics is getting to see the characters interpreted different ways. And one of the things DC Direct did better than anybody was put out figures with sculpts that totally captured the comic book artwork. To this day, nobody's ever done it better than DC Direct. Not even Mattel, not even McFarlane. They don't quite capture the look of the comic book artwork the way that DC Direct managed to. Here we have back of the box showing the other characters in the line. This was from Series 2, Identity Crisis. So they did a few different assortments. I know they did at least two. I don't remember if they did a third one, but between Identity Crisis, the Superman, Batman line, and one or two other things, there was a pretty good representation of Michael Turner's artwork for quite a few different DC characters. So as you can see here, we have Captain Boomerang, we've got Batman, Black Canary, Elongated Man. There was also a Batman, Mike Turner style, put out in Superman, Batman line from a couple of years earlier. But this was the first version of The Flash based on Michael Turner's artwork. This is the Wally West Flash. And gotta say, right from the beginning, when I saw this figure, I knew I couldn't wait to pick it up. Finally did recently. I'm a big fan of the Flash as just a design. I really love the red and, well, it's supposed to be gold, but they usually use yellow. But the colors, the look of the outfit, the wings on the cowl, I just really love the look of the character. As a little kid, only knowing that he wears red and he runs fast, the look of the character was what really made me sit up and take notice. And I think this figure does a really great job illustrating that look and capturing the comic book style in all its majesty. We are going to take it out of the box. We are going to take a really close look at the figure, the articulation, the sculpt, all that good stuff. So we're going to be back in just a minute to do exactly that. And yeah, I'm excited because I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. I have a few other Flash figures, but this was, again, the first one based on Mike Turner's artwork that I ever picked up. So I've been holding on to it, and we're going to take it out in just a minute. Stick around. I'm excited. All right, there he is, The Flash from Identity Crisis Series 2. DC Direct. Really cool looking figure, 6-inch scale. Wally West, based on his appearance in the Michael Turner artwork on the covers of Identity Crisis. This guy's got lots of articulation, really great sculpt, really good colors. I really like this figure. Take a good long look, drink it in. That's what it's all about right there. I got a lot of Flash figures. This is immediately one of my favorites, even though there's a couple things could be better. We're going to talk about that for sure. But for now, take a good long look at that. Really digging that sculpt. Really liking the style of the figure. Very striking, very dramatic. A couple things that I would have changed, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. Right now, we're just going to soak it up, drink it in, and absorb the majesty of the Flash, the fastest man alive. One of my favorite characters. I mean, you know, part of why I wanted to do this figure is because the movie is about to come out. You know, it's got its own history, its own ups and downs, but the Flash, always been one of my favorite characters, and really excited to finally showcase him here on From the Vault. Alright, so, released from his plastic prison, we have Wally West, the Flash, the fastest man alive. Really looking good. There's not too much wrong with this figure. Definitely up to par for the standards of the time. This would have been late 2000s, probably 2007 or 8 release. So again, by the standards of the day, you got a lot of articulation. You've got the head. Hey Zoe coming in to say hello. She loves when I play with my toys. The shoulders, they do go, hello Zoe. I have to cut all of this because she's just not moving.
No.
It's going to take forever. I'll just jump back in talking about the shoulder parts. Hello Zoe! So this figure's got a lot of articulation, definitely up to par for the standards of the day. The shoulders, you got the typical front to back, but you also do have some side to side. Doesn't go up too far, but this was something new right around that time. You didn't see that every day. You got the hinge elbows. Sometimes these are a little stiff out of the package, the DC Directs, but this one feels a little more sturdy than most once you get it moving. You got some wrist swivels, very cool. And you've got legs are a little bit stiff, but you do have some really good front to back motion on the legs. That's great. And again, knees a little stiff, but you do have, you know, decent bend. Standard for the time. Definitely nowadays you get a lot more, but for 2007, 8, whatever have you, this was definitely about as good as you could expect. This is definitely one of the sturdier feeling DC Direct figures. I've got a few hundred of them, and some of them are a little bit more brittle than others, unfortunately. This one feels pretty good. I wouldn't worry about this one too much. I've had a couple that turned to dust right out of the package, but not the case here. This guy is pretty good. The only thing, and I don't know, this must have been a manufacturing defect, but the left leg is shorter than the right. So the stand is very necessary, because otherwise you have to kind of pose him a little weird, but you can see it, right? He's sort of lopsided. I don't know if that's just a defect in the manufacturing or if it's a side effect of the sculpting, but he definitely works better with this really cool Identity Crisis stand. So, foot peg, slides right on it, definitely gives him some more stability. A lot of DC Direct figures don't stand very well for whatever reason. It's just one of the many, but again, not too shabby. I really love the sculpt and the style. The only thing I really wish they had done was use gold paint instead of yellow. I kind of get why they did. I mean, I'm pretty sure on the artwork itself, I mean, even on the artwork, that's gold. You know, that's not yellow. Cheap bastards. But it's whatever. I just would have had it in gold. Point of fact, this was something about Wally West's Flash outfit that I didn't really understand at the time, and still don't. In the early 90s, they upgraded his costume and gave him more of a metallic red with white lenses over his eyes and the gold trim, the jagged lightning belt buckle, the belt rather. And for some reason, in the early 2000s, they sort of dialed it back a little bit, and they kept the same belt, but they got rid of the white lenses, they got rid of the metallic red, and they just sort of basically started drawing them like Barry again, almost. I didn't really love that. I liked the more modern Flash outfit, but you know, it is what it is. This still is a great looking Flash figure, very striking, very well sculpted, really love it. I just would have used gold paint instead of the yellow. I think that's kind of cheap, but thankfully included bases with these figures because it definitely helps. And you can't do a ton of crazy stuff with them, but for the standards of 2007 or 8, you know, you can get, a little bit. You'd have to get like a wire stand to hold them in any kind of a pose because you don't have ankle rockers. That's another thing. The coolest thing about action figures is that every year stuff jumps ahead a little bit. Watching that evolution happen in real time over the last 20 years has been cool as hell. Because now some of the newer Flash figures, like, you can recreate pretty much any pose. You can get them running through the Speed Force and all that. But we were a little bit more limited back in those days. But even so, really great job on this figure. Huge fan. Definitely happy to add this one to my Flash collection. I forget how many Flash figures I have across different lines, but it's a good number of them. It's a lot. Big fan of the character, so kind of looking forward to the movie. Reservedly. I don't think it's going to be all that good, but we'll see. If nothing else, it'll be a night out. So we're going to wrap it up in just a minute, but yeah, on the whole, I would say this is a great figure to add to your DC Direct collection, your Flash collection. I mean, I am on a mission to get all the DC Direct Flash figures. I try to get all the Flash figures in general. I'm pretty far behind, but I'm catching up a little bit more every day. This was the latest edition. Really happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and give it an A just because I love it so much. And, could be better, but hey, everything could be better, right? We're here to appreciate what we got, not what we don't. So we're going to come back in a second to wrap it up. For now, drink it in, soak it up. If you can find it cheap like I did, pick it up for sure. We're going to come back in just a moment to say goodbye. Well, that's going to just about do it for another episode of From the Vault, Rikki Roxx Retro Action Figure Review. Keeping it rolling with the DC Direct goodness here. With Wally West Flash from Identity Crisis. Definitely pick this figure up if you find him cheap. I think I paid like $25. I mean, it's not a hard one to find. They've done a lot of Flash figures, so most of them are pretty easy to get. Going all the way back to the Kenner Superpowers line, I think he was the most prevalent figure floating around out there. You can still find him loose for like $20, and that figure's 40 years old. So, but yeah, this one, very happy with it, and definitely glad I got it. Definitely fun finally getting them out of package, taking a look at it. All the ups and downs. Really, definitely one of the better ones I've seen for sure. I wouldn't have cheaped out on the paint. Usually DC Direct was a little bit better with things like that, but it is what it is. Nothing's perfect. If I ever get bored, or maybe if I find another one loose, I'll take care of that myself. But for now, it's been a great time looking at the Flash on From the Vault. We got some more DC, all the different lines coming up in the future. We got DC Direct, we got Toy Biz, we got Kenner, we got Mattel, we got a little bit of everything. We got McFarlane. It's all gonna come at you sooner rather than later. So thanks for sticking with me. Like, share, subscribe, comment, do the deal. We'll see you real soon. I hope. From the Vault, Rikki Roxx saying catch you next time. If it can't be good, be bad.